Hi everybody and welcome back to the Exiled Yellow Belly with another special. This is part 2 of Lynn, the Tales of a Sensitive, where Lynn has now moved on from Luton to Burnham. So I haven't got much to say here. All I'm going to say is once again in part 2, Tales of Lynn, Tales of Sensitive of the Exiled Yellow Belly. Take it away, Lynn.
So thinking about my further sort of spooky experiences, I think the next time that I really felt spooked was when I lived in a flat in Burnham in the very early 70s, and that's also the only time that I can say that I have actually seen a spirit, a ghost, whatever you want to call it. At the time, I didn't think it was a ghost. I thought it was a person. I was in bed one night, I'd been reading, just turned out the light, turned over, and there was a man standing by the side of the bed, just in full colour, just like a man. He was wearing beige slacks, a check shirt. He had the sort of the fashionable at the time square, dark rimmed glasses. He had dark hair that was slicked back, and he was just stood there looking at me, not saying anything. And because I was so convinced it was an actual person, I thought it was a burglar. Just sort of called out, and he just disappeared. I couldn't understand where he'd gone, so I put on the overhead light over the bed. My husband unfortunately wouldn't get out of bed and have a look to see if there was anybody about, but the bedroom door was still closed, the windows were closed, so I just presumed the only place he could have gone was in the wardrobe. But common sense told me that actually wasn't room for a man in the wardrobe, and I lay there for a little while, and I thought, I've got to get out of bed. And even though I was quite scared because I was convinced it was a burglar, a human being, I got out of bed and had a look, and of course there was nobody in the wardrobe. So I walked through the flat to the front door. That was all still locked and bolted. None of the windows were open in any of the rooms. I checked in on the next bedroom where my daughter was sleeping in her cot. She was only a baby at the time. And checked the spare bedroom. Nothing in there. Nothing had been moved in the flat. So I can only assume that that must have been some kind of ghost or spirit that I saw, because there was certainly no man in the flat, no burglar, and I hadn't been to sleep because I'd only just finished reading. So that was the only time, as I say, that I could really say that I had seen somebody. There were another few sort of spooky things about that flat. One was that the third bedroom, the spare bedroom, always had a very dark and creepy feel to it. I didn't like that bedroom very much at all. A couple of experiences at night. It was a very, very rural part. It was out in the country, the flat, and the only thing you could hear at night were owls hooting, which gave it, I suppose, a spooky feel to it. Another night I woke up to go and feed my daughter, as I say, who was a baby. I've got up to do a night feed. Went through the lounge into the hall to go into the kitchen, and the front door was wide open, and I knew it had definitely been locked at night when we went to bed, but the door was wide open, cold air coming in. It was in the winter. I think it was in January or February time. Nothing again had been touched in the flat. There were no other windows or anything open. I walked all through the flat and could find nothing. So that again was a sort of unexplained situation, really. When we moved from this flat in Burnham, we moved into a 3-bedroom house in Ewell. That from the very start I didn't feel comfortable with the front bedroom. When we moved in there, the house had been occupied by another family, and it was in a pretty poor condition, in the front bedroom, which was a double bedroom with a built-in cupboard. So my husband presumed that that would be the bedroom we'd sleep in. I just knew straight away that I couldn't sleep in that room. I didn't really know why. When we moved in, my sister came to help us move, and I didn't have a spare bed, so she was going to sleep on the settee. But when we moved in, the day we moved in, I'd got a bed frame, a bedstead, but not a mattress. And there, stood up against the wall, packed in polythene, looking brand new, sealed up with sellotape, was a brand new double mattress. So my sister said, "That's great, I'll be able to sleep in a bed tonight." So I said, "Yeah, absolutely, you will." When it came to the evening to make up the bed, we got hold of the mattress, got some scissors, cut the polythene off, turned it over onto the bed, and what had appeared to be a brand new double mattress actually had a big, I would say, oval, sort of 3 foot long stain of blood on it. Brown, it was obviously dried, blood stain on it, which freaked us out. And we took it straight downstairs, left it in the garden overnight, and burnt it the next day. That was a creepy experience. I didn't like that front bedroom. In fact, I felt quite afraid of it. And the feeling began as I went up the stairs. The stairs were the type of stairs that turned a corner. And it was at the corner of those stairs that I first started to feel uneasy. I had a dog who didn't want to go into the bedroom. His hackles would go up, and if I could get him to go up there and get in there, he'd be just running round and round in circles, barking with his hackles up. He didn't like that bedroom either. In fact, it got to the point where I didn't like being in the house on my own, so I locked the bedroom door. It was an old type of door with a key, and I put the key up on the ledge over the door so that the door remained locked. But my dog never liked going up and going near that room. He too felt something as he was going up the stairs on that corner, because that's when he started to get uneasy and his hackles would go up. One day, when I'd been there for quite a few years, I was talking to the lady next door, and she was asking me how I was getting on and did I like the house, and I said yes, it was a nice house, nice garden, but I said I didn't like the front bedroom. She said, "What did I mean?" I said, "I don't know, I just don't feel comfortable there. I feel scared of it, and I can't tell you exactly how I feel, but I just don't like it." And I said that I didn't very much like the dining room either, because even though we decorated the dining room and painted it in light colours, it always felt dark, was the word I'd used to describe it. And she told me that the lady who'd been there before the previous owners had not felt very well one lunchtime, and her husband had come home from work and said to her, "Why don't you, go up and have a lie down?" And she said that she thought she would, because she felt like very tired and didn't feel too well. And he said he'd pop in on her when he came home at tea time and bring her a cup of tea. And when he came home at tea time to take a cup of tea up, the lady had died during the afternoon while he'd been away at work. And that had been her bedroom, the front bedroom. Because I didn't know what had happened there until that day. And I'd been living there about, I suppose, nearly 3 years then. But I just always knew that there was something not right about that bedroom. That's kind of, I suppose, the next chapter in like the spooky experiences when I lived in Burnham and Ewell.